Okay, so this evening we are going to uh, talk about the Buddha nature. So the Buddha nature, this we mentioned also the few days before. If as you are there, and the Buddha nature actually very important this topic to understand for everybody, if you are traditioner or non-traditioners, doesn't matter. And then particularly if you are traditional followers, and then more important, especially Buddhism, Buddhist tradition followers, and then it's very important to understand the Buddha nature. Because if you haven't yet any idea to understand about Buddha nature, then almost there's no make sense what we're talking about the enlightenment for, and also there's no also the make sense for the generating of bodhicitta mind. Because if you understand generally the point meaning of Buddha nature, and thus there's no problem, easily you can understand the reincarnation. Everybody, we are reincarnated from past life and will be born, reborn again and again, continuously till completely achievement of the enlightenment. Because the Buddha nature is as the basics or the fundamental of the reincarnation. And not only, and Buddha nature also can be the basics of unpure appearances of samsara and pure appearances of nirvana. If there's no Buddha nature, and thus there's no samsara and no nirvana, which means is someone who recognizes the Buddha nature, and that means is can leading into of enlightenment or will be achievement state of Buddhahood. Someone who not yet recognize the Buddha nature, and that means is still wandering in the samsara with the ignorant. That's why this Buddha nature is the basics of both samsara and nirvana, depend to the Buddha nature recognize or not recognize, and also is the distinguish between the obscuration of ignorant, the obscurations of delusion, afflicted emotion, karma, and the pure purity, the reality, true nature, mind is also is very much depend to the understanding of the Buddha nature. If you understand the characteristics of Buddha nature generally, then you can easily understand the obscuration of delusion is as just circumstantially apparent at the moment. Therefore, it's 100% sure you can guaranteeing means you can form the proofs will be sooner or later everybody can have the potential to be separation from of the obscuration of delusions and the ignorant, so on. So many the benefits if someone understanding the Buddha nature but logically, I mean the reasoning, if you get the certainty and the convictions born from the reasoning, and then this makes you so many the pure views comes. So in the Buddha nature, we mentioned that first day, so we're not going today again not repeating again. So I'm going today is for a little bit further from this topic. What is the benefit someone if who knows of the Buddha nature, and why is Buddha important to introduce to us the Buddha nature. So from this point, we are going to little bit to sharing you. In the text, the Ayamutriya Uttara Tantra text, it says, Shivsha Tamchen Namkun Tomberji Soni Andre Yalnam Simjin La Sangi Ningbuyo Chester Songs. That means is and before, because Buddha Shakyamuni, he taught trained the well of Dharma more than 84,000 collection training well of Dharma, but in briefly can divide it into there's three categories, three groups. The first one is the Four Noble Truth, and the second is the training way of Dharma is the Paranjana Paramita, or the emptiness. And then the third one, the last one, is at the only month school, and also is the Buddha nature, explanations about the Buddha nature. So in this way, in the second, he's teaching the training way of Dharma, and the second, the Paranjana Paramita, he taught the main place, the peak of the top of Watcher mountain in Rajgarh is near the of Bodh Gaya in India. So that times the second training way of Dharma detailment is he told there's the more than is the 100,000 verses for talking mainly the Paranjana Paramita, the emptiness, the detailment emptiness. And then this make little bit in brief the second detailment explanations. The volumes is with more than around the 20,000 verses to explanation again the emptiness, the Paranjana Paramita. And then the third detailment, the Paranjana Paramita teachings, he used more than around 8,000 verses. And then is the very brief, the summaries, why the explanation of the Paranjana Paramita, the perfection wisdom mother, as you know, very one the well-known the word, the famous one is Heart Sutra, the short with a few pages, you know. So all these teachings, sense of the 100,000 verses until of these few pages, and that's all is the main topic is the Paranjana, the emptiness, sense from the ordinary aggregates of form up to of the extraordinary Buddhas, omniscience mind are completely unborn nature. Nature is unborn, emptiness, totally emptiness. That's the perfection, wisdom. So that is actually the reality. He taught the true nature phenomena from the ordinary and up to of extraordinary. Nature is same, equal, the Dharma sphere, the Dharmata, or the suchness, or thatness, nature, unborn, empty is same test, providing equally for all the nature of the phenomena. There's no exceptions. Even Buddha's nature is as empty. So in this way, now the questions comes because from his third, the group, the training way of Dharma, like Buddha nature. So Buddha nature, he explanations Buddha nature primordially providing equally for all the sentient beings, mind, have no exceptions. That means Buddha nature could be existent sense from ordinaries mount up to of extraordinaries Buddhas, omniscience or wisdom mount. There's no difference. And that Buddha nature is, as I mentioned to you first day, it's a great impermanence, a great permanent. Buddha nature is as uncompounded phenomena, an object of uncompounded phenomena. Buddha nature is. And Buddha nature is as undetectable object or unchangeable. Something like this talking, and then maybe you feel kind of like contradiction from his second teaching on the emptiness and from the third last teaching, Buddha nature. If you not really understand it both clearly, and then you feel some that's contradictory. But that's of course not the case. So therefore, because the Buddha, the teachings have some order, step and step, the categories, the levels. Because every levels of his yanas, his vehicles, starting from the first class, but the sub-school, starting from this sense, the sub-school, and then step and step, the end of high school, class. This is a normal our class also, it's normal orderly when you go to in the education school, and then also the very beginning and start is like the sub-school starting from, and then the end is the highest, the school is coming, but never talking is high school. So the first is that's not good idea. It's not possible. So similar, his teaching also like this. First is Four Noble Truth, and the second is the emptiness, Paranjana Paramita, and the third is the main one important thing, the Buddha nature. So in this way, from the Four Noble Truth, the first trend, that's very important, but that's also the basics of coming detachment, all the Buddha's teachings, including, of course, this level if you are understanding, but if you misunderstand the first beginning of the Four Noble Truth, and there's no way to understand the rest of coming, another training of the Dharma teachings. So, but very beginning of the Four Noble Truth, the first class, and that times is he also sometimes talking according to depending to the Hinayana, the capabilities of Hinayana, or the Hirayana, solitary realization, all means is the Sutrantika school followers, Vipassana school, the followers, these first two class, he explained like the person is existent, Generally, we say sometimes says the means the form, sound, smell, the test, contact, or the aggregate, 5 aggregates the explanation is existent, can't like inherently, something substantially, and then but only he explanations the selflessness of person, but this also is depend some inside of these two today, the first two class also is division, different categories, different levels, Sometimes also almost is an explanation, they are self is existent inherently, almost they say they are, the person is existent individually carrying the karma, something like the fundamental of reincarnation, the fundamental of the karma, or something like the carrying of the karma. So that is coming from past life and born this time and going to next rebirth. Something, the explanations, And then because that is a little bit more easy, people can accept, and more, it's a little bit, it's easy to understand than, to talking immediately everything as phenomena are non-existent, something emptiness, and then it's headache, And then when they're having this idea, it's coming a little bit progress, or the capability both little bit of high faculties, and then he talking is not only emptiness of person self, but even though it's the emptiness of the phenomena, is there's no any exceptions from the second training way of Dharma, the Paranjana Paramita teaching, So, but again, is you feel maybe if you doesn't know the schedule, the progress or the stages, if then you maybe can feel there are some contradictory, because in the first his class says there are existent of the like aggregates, and then is form of the second the training way of Dharma and the class the emptiness says is there's no, you see the heart sutra said there's no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no contact, so on, everything's no, it's, and then its beginning is yes, so the no and yes is opposite, something. So, and then because it's more deeper and deeper here explanation leading us to understand gradually, will be. And then still is that is not the final, the completely explanations of the true nature of sentient beings, Only is that even the second, the emptiness, Paranjana Paramita teaching is explanations only one side of the object or of the person. What means one side means is according to the of the Dharma sphere. According to the of Dharma sphere only is the suchness or thatness nature is empty. That's the true. 100%, that's the definitive truth, But not completely enough to explanation yet the definitive truth. Still something extra left there. So therefore, and from the second teaching, so for example, that means is the mind is as not anymore as and the same as a mind. But mind nature is as clarity. Like this very in brief, very summarized, something is like, but not very detailed explanation. What is the clarity? Only is a man determined even the 100,000 verses to explanations about emptiness, not about of clarity, So not the essence of the luminescence of, but only is talking the nature of emptiness first, The reason, because we are wandering in the samsara, better of the wrong perception, the wrong perception to the of true nature of self, the person, and wrong perceiving to the of this nature of phenomena. We are overhanding to inherently existent of person and inherently existent of phenomena nature. That is ordinary the wrong perception, is the misconception, ignorant. So therefore, ignorant is at the root of samsara. So it's at the must be least first to need to cutting the root of samsara. If you want to liberation from samsara, otherwise there's no way. If you don't understand at least the part of the emptiness, So that is why. And then the emptiness also is they have levels. Even in the first four noble truth, and they are also is talking a little bit about the emptiness, but not as the full determined. Only is the part empty means is like selflessness of person, but doesn't explanation or determine the selflessness of phenomena. That's why there are stair forms on the smell test is they left for us, and there. And then is in these the second stages, even though the nature of the phenomena, the five aggregates are completely unborn emptiness, explanations. So, and then is that could become antidote to the of obscuration, the delusions, and could become antidote to the realization, the selflessness of phenomena. Wisdom mind could become directly antidote to the of the obscuration, to the of omniscient. Because it need to leading into Buddhahood, not only nirvana of the Mahayana traditions. So from the second training of Dharma and the third, both are according to the main determined explanation point is for the Mahayana capably both. So the first class is the four noble truth of the first training of Dharma is common for both of sense the Hinayana into Mahayana or the four classes, and especially more detailment, the characteristics for the point of first two class, the Vipassika school and Suttarattika the school, the class, this first two class, But still, that does not mean is that something is wrong. But that's of course that is basics, and further to the of the Chitamada school and Madhyamika school. I mean the Four Noble Truth is as the fundamental of Buddha's all the detailment teachings, And then this wasn't explained very detailedly the luminescence, the essence of our nature, the mind, the essence of the luminosity, the essence of our mind of the clarity wasn't explained in detail. So therefore, he need to description or need to explain detail better to read of the perfect, the ultimate logic, and the ultimate the reasoning, the reasoning through the comes through of the ultimate truth, to need to explain the final completely. So and therefore is Buddha nature and the form the third training way of Dharma is the explanations. Buddha nature is coming. So the coming explanations, Buddha nature. So in that terms, the emptiness, of course, that is the basics. The Buddha nature is unborn, spontaneously unborn nature. Spontaneously is emptiness. Buddha nature means is a Buddha nature. We should be to understand the two different aspects. Aspect of apparent clarity or luminosity or luminescence, and aspect unborn nature emptiness. These two is become union completely and inseparability, one single test, one pointed meaning. That is Buddha nature. Buddha nature cannot separate from luminescence, the essence of our mind, luminescence, and Buddha nature cannot separate from unborn the Dharma sphere, the suchness, true reality cannot separate. Only these two is different aspect of luminescence and aspect of unborn, nature. So these two is not contradictory, but not only not contradictory, but very union. That two is, as one test. There's no Dharma sphere, true nature reality, and there's no possible is the clarity, the luminescence. There's no luminescence, the essence of our nature mind of luminescence or luminosity is not there, and there's no possibilities. Is the dharmata is cannot comes. These two is just it's union, totally is union. So dharmata is not existent another than of we can say like as the luminosity mind. The essence luminosity is cannot existent another than the of dharmata, the true nature dharmata. So the true nature dharmata is as the essence of Buddha nature, and Buddha nature, the essence luminosity is as the dharmata actually, but two different. So these two be union, and then is we can say is great pervasive. Sometimes we say great pervasive compassion. The three kayas. From sutra also we talking three kayas, and from tantra also we talking in brief. The Buddha's body can division into three kayas or sometimes four kayas, so on. But anyway, that means is Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya,